To be Nigerian is to be intimately familiar with the flavor of mediocrity disguised as rooting for the underdog. I would say that mediocrity tastes like chocolate or chocolate tastes mediocre, but they will call me a hater. As my friend Musa once said, we do not have a culture of excellence. All that matters is that the thing is done. Could it be better? Maybe. Will anybody put in the work to make it better? No, of course not. What do they get out of that? It's almost as if Nigerians are afraid to do the right thing. It's the way students will answer questions correctly in class and everybody will clown them for knowing the answers. Or someone mistakenly sends you money and then you send it back and they're like, oh no, you shouldn't have done that because you've missed the opportunity to be a sharp guy. And it is this lack of excellence, culture of mediocrity, that is the exact reason Idris Elba will be playing Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart, and no amount of tears will be able to stop it. I don't usually sound this serious, but I'm trying my best because the downfall of Nollywood is a serious matter. Hi, my name is Ravi. I'm a writer, traveler, feminist, amongst other things. But you don't need to be a writer to see the basin-sized plot holes in the average Nigerian movies. And at first I thought, okay, maybe there aren't any good script writers. But that's a hilarious thought because Nigeria, lacking storytellers? Find another joke, that's not funny. To quote Pixel Savant on Twitter, Nigeria has too many novels, documentaries and folklores on our culture and history for Nollywood to keep subjecting us to Lekki vibes and 30MB drive-thrus filled with IG influencers and BBN housemates. So why do they do it? It costs a lot of money to hire competent scriptwriters, trained actors, and let's not even talk about what it would take to obtain the license to a book like Things Fall Apart. And there's no guarantee that they're going to make that money back. What if people don't watch it in cinemas? What if streaming numbers are low? At least with the generic Nollywood movies shot in 9 days around GRA in Asaba, they'll be uploaded on YouTube for hundreds of subscribers, and they'll get whatever money they've spent back very quickly. Matter of fact, they can even make 4 movies in 1 month, call it a fucking day. What's funny is that movies from the golden era of Nollywood cinema also took that same amount of time, like from 9 days to 2 weeks, to make, but they were better. So, I don't know, but somewhere along the line, we lost the plot. But just stay with me. As it is with nearly everything else in this country, filmmakers have to cut costs. Do our films deserve the same amount of attention our music gets? Absolutely. But the gap between the amount of money needed to get all the people working on a film compared to what one would use to mix, master and promote a song is wide. And with music, going viral on TikTok once or twice can be the ticket you need because the whole world is in love with Afrobeats now. It is just not the same with our films. So if they show the same parlor, compound, third street, 2 cars, and sprinkle in drone shots of the Third Mainland Bridge, can you really blame them? I can, actually, and I will. And you might puff up your chest and say, well, if it's so easy, why don't you make a film yourself? I never said it was easy, but I don't have the money, and I really would if I could. I write a lot of stories set in Nigeria because I love us in our weird little ways, and I'll leave a link to my Medium account in the description if you want to check them out. But our film directors of the 90s and early 2000s didn't really have bastard money when they made some of the most iconic and memorable Nigerian movies in our history.
This time I put food on table. He lands here like a vulture. Hey, you nearly met me well.
How?
I just finished eating. Yes.
So maybe it's a skill issue. Maybe it's a skill issue. I'm just gonna say that. Let's talk about old Nollywood. The 1980s was a period of major boom in the television industry, with several books from notable authors being adapted into television series, like the very first Things Fall Apart movie, which starred, I think, Peter Duce. But Nigeria's homegrown film industry really began in the early 90s when rampant street crime in big cities like Lagos forced mainstream cinemas to shut down and import restrictions made foreign films scarce. Local entrepreneurs stepped in, helped by the growth in cheap camera technology. So like the cameras are not even good, but like did they care? No. Their films sold on CDs for like 500 naira were all straight to video because they were made for rental and retail markets rather than cinema, and that's where like the home video comes from. The plots were very basic. They reflected the concerns of everyday Nigerian life. In The Controllers, for example, Cosmo is a wealthy 419 scammer specializing in internet fraud. Other films deal with AIDS, corruptions, and witchcraft, as well as reenacting ancient times, the juju, the gods must be crazy, and all that. Typically producing each film in less than 2 weeks for $15,000 a time, the country's high-speed, low-budget movie industry is one of Nigeria's few success stories. It churns out up to 2,000 offerings a year and outsold both its Western and Eastern competitors. While the likes of Osofia in London and The Lost Prince may not be as slick as their Hollywood counterparts, they offered one thing that the likes of Ryan Reynolds and Brad Pitt can never provide: characters with stories which an African audience can identify. The attention to detail and quality of the acting was not always as good as it should be, but people didn't mind because they were stories from our perspective. The actual term Nollywood can be traced back to a 2002 article in the New York Times by Norimitsu Onishi, titled "Step Aside LA and Bombay for Nollywood." I'll link the article in the description because it's quite interesting, as well as a 2007 article by Uchenna Onuzulike, Nollywood, the influence of the Nigerian movie industry on African culture. They helped me put together the jagged pieces of a script I had floating around in my brain, but I'm going to talk about what sticks out the most to me. Norimitsu wrote that Nollywood's influence was so strong across Africa, even when it was just starting, that there was backlash against Nigerian movies in Ghana to the point that the police started raiding shops selling Nollywood movies, although it was unclear what laws had been breached. At some point, other countries in Africa were hustling to copy Nigeria. Uganda was also trying to jumpstart Ugandawood, but here we are. In 2006, Ofe Motiki of in Nwegi, Botswana's only independent daily newspaper, said that many people in Botswana loved Nigerian movies and found them irresistible, mostly because of their familiar storylines. Nigerian movies had become a household name all over his country. Although the whole cinematography of the movies was not the best quality, a lot of people were in love with them. He noted that the common incorrect use of adjectives, nouns, and verbs were all ignored and laughed at. Some said that the reason they loved them is that they could easily relate to them. You see that thing about relatability? We're gonna come back to it later. The names of these movies were not only appealing but catchy too. Names like Corridors of Power, Father and Son, Sharon Stone, and many others. I've never heard of Sharon Stone until I was working on this video. Motiki spoke to a Botswana resident, Kobamelo Mosheno, who said that she started watching them in 2005 and had no plans to stop. She said, and I quote, "I don't think I'll ever stop watching them, and I now know the real names of all these actors and actresses. I have quite a collection of Nigerian DVDs at home, and when I have enough money to subscribe to DSTV, I always make it a point to watch channel 1 or 2, because of all the channels that DSTV offers, that is where the action happens." Commenting on Nollywood's influence on African culture in BBC Focus on Africa magazine in 2004, Ochimba said Nollywood films are packed with simple but dramatic storylines. "Ah, you want to kill me now?" The woman yanks her hair wildly, her facial expression alive and contorted dramatically. "No, not me, not today." Her body shudders, and in seconds she's transformed into a vicious, sleek mongrel, emitting blood-curdling growls. We're so fucking dramatic, dog. Throw in a gibbering, bone-rattling juju man and Bible-waving preacher, and what you have is a brew of conflict, revenge, trials and tribulations, the likes of which are keeping most Zambians, especially in the capital city Lusaka, glued to their TV screens for hours on end. The thing is, the actors of the golden era of Nollywood were actually actors. I know, right? It's not hard to figure out. But what I mean is they were passionate and they studied theater. They were thespians. They put their backs into it. They weren't just acting. They were embodying the characters. There's a reason why so many people believed Patience Ozoko to be a wicked and evil person in real life, or why many people associate Kanayo with rituals and juju.
This man who called himself man of God, but for the sake of this genuine one, I will go all out, support him.
Wow. That's great. And I'm so happy I have someone to take care of my spiritual life.
Oh, you've got him all by your side.
People don't talk like this in real life, and it's not just the accents I'm talking about. There are bigger and fancier words being used in older films, but somehow it flows perfectly well. Why is that? Because that's how people used to talk. That's just how we used to talk. Everybody was going to school in the UK that year. It's the reason why every once in a while somebody will come to Twitter to say, "Oh, African parents speak so poetically," and it's just sense is not a flower that grows in every garden. Be so for real, guys. That's bread and butter for us. Or it used to be, because somehow we appear to be getting dumber. But that's not what we're talking about today. Relax, relax. Now, to draw better parallels between the golden age and the present era, I'm going to be comparing a film that has been rebooted, like Glamour Girls, Living in Bondage, Rattlesnake, and Naked the Pretty Serpent. You know, those ones they just want to do revival for no good reason. For the purpose of keeping these videos shorter than 30 minutes, I'll only focus on one, giving fairly basic summaries.
You must be rich. What do you do?
I'm a businessman. I import computers.
I love you.
The movie follows Sandra, who is frustrated with her limited achievements, being broke and also single. Real. She moves to Lagos, they always do this, and I have an entire video about Lagos being overrated. After her close friend Doris offers to help her find her footing as a senior girl, essentially hookup babe. With the help of Doris and Doris's friend Thelma, Sandra meets a wealthy Assyri who instantly proposes marriage and offers her a job with his bank. Oh my god. But Dennis, a struggling job seeker who is even younger than Sandra, is also interested in her, and Sandra eventually chooses Dennis, making Assyri vow to ruin her. Doris agrees with this because she and Sandra had a falling out. Jane, another Lagos senior girl who attended school with Doris and Thelma, is set to marry Desmond, a wealthy businessman who is devoted to her, even though her scheming stepmother has told him all about her past. He doesn't really care, he's in love. I love that for them. After Desmond is involved in a car accident that leaves him disabled, Jane catches the eye of presidential aspirant Alex, who urges her to leave Desmond. She soon discovers her new lover's presidential aspirations are a fraud to con her out of her money after she divorces Desmond, who is still recovering in the hospital. She regrets meeting Alex and plots revenge. Finally, high-class hooker Helen agrees to spend a week with a software entrepreneur after he hires her for the night and is mesmerized by her beauty and background. Can I just say his hair? His hair was something. The 1999 sequel isn't really relevant to this video, so I'll be skipping it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Now let's get into Glamour Girls 2022.
This is how we play.
After Emma is fired from her stripping job, she desperately approaches Donna, an interior designer who is actually a madame. A makeover follows and the uncouth Emma is introduced to the world of high-class escorting, but is snubbed by all of Donna's snooty clients until Zeribe, a bodyguard who confesses to framing her for theft at the strip club, which caused them to fire her, presents Emma to his new boss. You will not believe that they fall in love later. Shegun, the boss, gradually takes a shine to Donna's new recruit, and the rest is kind of history, I guess. Louisa, a boutique owner also in Donna's employment, finds out her American-based husband, Aaron, has flown into Nigeria to surprise her and their two daughters. She manages to conceal her secret profession, but Aaron is increasingly suspicious when she frequently leaves their house late at night under false pretenses to meet up with her Lebanese lover, Fadi. Donna advises her to send Aaron back to America before he discovers the truth, but he extends his stay. Could it be love? Maybe it is. Gemma visits her former friend Donna, who has not forgiven her for breaking the escort agency's golden rule, never give your love for free. Gemma's terminally ill husband, Desmond, name dropping, okay, faces life support withdrawal unless his wife settles his medical bills. She turns down Donna's request to return to escorting in exchange for money at first, but eventually gives in after running out of options. At a high-profile party she attends with Donna and the girls, Gemma catches the eye of Alexander, a business associate of billionaire Chief Nkem, who Donna occasionally pleases. Gemma and Alexander spend the night together and instantly begin a relationship. Soon after, Desmond's life support machine is switched off. 6 months later, Emma, the former stripper, has completed her finishing school and a business course in Ireland, and Shegun uses his connections to secure her a job as a bank manager despite her limited qualifications. The bank thing again. But he doesn't intervene when his daughter publicly exposes Emma's past and humiliates her further by demanding a striptease with Zeribe present. Enraged, she storms off, but Zeribe suggests that she obeys Shegun's orders before he replaces her with another woman. She reluctantly agrees, but not before seducing Zeribe, and Shegun hears them having sex under his roof but does not retaliate. Trouble also ensues in Louisa's home after Aaron finally stumbles on his wife's secret rendezvous with Fadi, and he flies back to America with their daughters, demanding that their mother pays child support or face his wrath. Gemma murders Alexander when she catches him sexually molesting her son and enlists the help of both Donna and the latter's personal assistant Tommy to dispose of the body. Donna receives more devastating news when Hale, an escort from a wealthy family, dies of a drug overdose after discovering she's pregnant without knowledge of the father's identity. At the funeral, Nkem reveals that Alexander was his accountant, but as Gemma was romantically involved with him, she is considered a suspect after a hard drive with his company's billions disappears. Out of the blue. Donna travels to Beirut, where she begs her mentors, Doris and Thelma from the original movie, to plead with Nkem, who has started to harass her girls. But both women are unwilling to cooperate. When Donna returns to Nigeria, the escorts finally locate the drive. Alexander had worn it as a pendant. And with the assistance of a francophone hacker who demands sex with Emma in exchange for his service, they discover the drive contains a larger sum than anticipated. However, Zeribe double-crosses the women and secretly plants a duplicate on Emma, who in a repeat of events at their first meeting, hides the actual drive in his pocket, and Nkem's henchmen cast him off, his pleas of innocence falling on deaf ears. The film ends with the revelation that Donna had secretly duplicated the flash drive containing part of the money. I don't know. Now, just a moment of silence while we digest all of that. How are we doing? Good? Great? Okay. Nigerians loved Glamour Girls 1994. They did not love Glamour Girls 2022. I wonder why. But why? One could argue that nostalgia is the defining factor, and sure, maybe it is. Maybe people were so attached to the original movie already. But what about people who had never seen the original? Why didn't the high-quality film with beautiful wigs, cars, and designer clothes appeal to the audience? Vanessa Obioha's ThisDayLive review says it very well, I think. Glamour Girls are sprinkled with all the blings, exotic locations, and fashion statements expected from a film about glamour. But that's where it ends. The storyline is loosely plot, missing a chance to tell a gripping narrative that could have outlasted the classic Nollywood movie of the same title. It could have been better, but it's not. A major part of the budget clearly went to the set design, hiring big shot actresses, and traveling to Beirut. The story wasn't as fleshed out as it could have been, which meant viewers are left to just stare blankly at the somewhat steamy scenes and marinades, I guess. Let's not even talk about the sudden flash drive, Ocean's 8 type drama towards the end. I'll just get annoyed. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get mad. We don't get attached to any character, not only because they are underdeveloped, but because they are unrelatable. See, I told you we'll circle back to it. Relax, trust me. The 1994 film saw a main character turn to prostitution as a way to escape poverty. The 2022 film tried to do that with Emma, but we are introduced to her when she's already a stripper. She has already dipped her toes into this risk life, and she's going to be taking it a step further. Sorry, my eyes. Ow. More than that, we don't see her motivations or the stakes. Will she live on the streets? Does she have a sick grandma to feed? Who knows? Why is she here? What's she doing? She just doesn't want to go back to being broke. It's a motivation, but it's not something that's going to endear her to us. Donna and Gemma have beef because the latter got married. It would have made sense to show their relationship beforehand so we can see just how much things have changed, how much Donna was hurt by this perceived betrayal. Anything. Just let us see Donna have some emotions. Why is it that female characters who are boss ladies can never exhibit a complete range of emotions? Why? Is there a rule somewhere? They can be angry, rude, nonchalant, and disgusted, never afraid or doubtful or sad. Between you and me, let's talk now. I think it ties into men and their logical gender propaganda, where they believe they're not emotional because they don't cry, and crying is a feminine trait. Surely, the joy they feel when their team scores and the frustration when it doesn't cannot be emotions as well. Otherwise, they would grow breasts. But I digress. How did the 1994 Glamour Girls, among many other iconic Nollywood movies, do so much without having as much money to throw around? There wasn't as much equipment available to the cast and crew of movies from the golden era. Multiple lights and complex equipment, be so for real. It was 1 or 2 cameras and vibes most of the time, and they gave it their all regardless. If they gave them smartphones that time to shoot film, they would have done it. I did managed to find an Aljazeera article featuring Nigerian producer Laolu Adeniyi. Adeniyi narrates how he used to watch foreign films like Charlie Chaplin in the cinema as a child with 3 pence. 3 pence is insane. And went on to study theatre in the UK after secondary school because of his passion for filmmaking. You hear that? Study theatre, passion for filmmaking. When he returned to Ibadan, he was able to find work in an organization that had government funding. In his own words, our government at the time believed in the importance of culture and was aware of the need for international artistic standards. With that backing, we were able to perform wonders. Okay, you heard it all. Tunde Kelani, one of the biggest names in Yoruba filmmaking, was also part of that organization. He declared that the foundation of his life and his career was laid in Ibadan. This was in 1970, before home videos, and everything at the station was to be distributed in cinemas. The level of professionalism in the creative industry was staggering. We all had a sense of belonging, he said. Nobody was in it for the money alone. So number one, there was government backing. And number two, there was passion and love for the game. As for how the golden era started to dwindle, Oguniyi said the military saw the creative artist as a potential catalyst for change, one who needs to be watched and, if possible, put in chains. So when military dictatorship came into play, it was the end of government backing for the creative sector. And it was the beginning of oppression, with actors barred from performing and artists getting arrested and jailed. The funding started to dwindle and it came down to zero. All the people in the industry dispersed. How can I come this far and not talk about the good parts? I love Nigerian movies, and some of my favorites are Breath of Life, The Ras Guy, and Fate of Alakada. I have watched The Ras Guy like 17 times, and I love to watch it, like rewatch it every time. It's so good. I love the cinematography of New Nollywood. You can tell they're using good quality cameras, and at least one or two people out of the crew know what the fuck they're doing. The shots, the transitions, the lighting, scenes, and locations, amazing. And sorry. And these are things that the average watcher might not really pay attention to, but they add to the overall feeling of the film. Another thing is the music. Don't get me wrong, I love African magic style music that has somebody narrating the plot of the whole movie in a song. Like, oh, Ngozi came to town and she lost her way and her bag fell in gutter, but she met a man. Oh, don't trust the man, don't trust the man. I don't know why I did that, I'm so sorry. Occasionally, the sound quality isn't amazing, like with Glamour Girls 2022, where the music was loud and the speaking was not. But most of the time, it's really good. It's really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like it. I like it a lot. Shantytown came out what year, and people were frothing at the mouth because of the BDSM scene. BDSM? In our very Christian, to God be the glory, every film must end with deliverance or a man of God shouting in tongues. Nigeria? I never thought I'd see the day. I also haven't actually watched it, but it's on the list. Lagos Bay Girls had something adjacent, and I remember tweeting when I clicked on this Nigerian movie, I didn't expect to see this woman flogging her husband with belt and him calling her mommy. I'm sad, Sha. Because I was sad. What do you want me to say? Really?
My classmate. My classmate.
Oh,
my classmate.
Your classmate. I worked so hard, so damn hard to give us a better life. I shift different here every day so that we can save a lot of money, get us visa to relocate to America, get us a comfortable house and live a better life. And all you do is running around with different little girls. Yes. You're building a freaking house for your mother, your sick mother in the village.
Also, we're branching out, and I love that for us. It's no longer just Prince and Village Girl getting rich through juju. We love each other, but our parents said no films. I mean, those storylines are still being used, and they won't stop anytime soon since they are practically our trademark. But now there are different stories being told. Biopics like Fumilayo Ransom Kuti are doing the work our secondary school teachers would have done if history hadn't been removed from most curriculums. We've been trying out horror with films like Madame Koi Koi and Nneka the Pretty Serpent. We're even doing science fiction now with movies like Ratnik, Day of Destiny, Kajola, and The Day They Came. Are the graphics amazing? No, but it's a start. And don't come for me. The only time I believe in supporting the underdog when their work isn't amazing is if they're trying something entirely new. When Nollywood first started out, The quality wasn't good, but the stories were okay, and everybody was okay with that because we were so used to seeing white people stories, and we were so proud to have our own stories on screen that we didn't care how it looked. It was just our stories that were being told, finally. But now, our stories have been told for years and years and years. Why are we not telling new stories? Why are we not getting better at storytelling? Why are we not doing better? Why is it like we're regressing? Do you get me? You cannot be doing the underdog for 50 years. Oh, let's just support our own. You can't do that. That's irresponsible of you. Finally, we have cartoons. I'm a big animation fan and I always will be. They're not all groundbreaking, but just hear me out first. We have Bino and Fino. wait, don't stop watching. And Turtle Tidal. But those are for young children to teach them morals and things about the country respectively. Then we have Lady Bucket and the Motley Mobsters, a 2020 Netflix film that I never heard about until this video but have definitely added to my watch list. We have Iwaju, a series by Kigali Studios and marketed by Disney, which is funny because we can't actually watch Disney Plus in Nigeria, so shout out to piracy. Which a lot of people hated from the get-go for the Wakanda style accent. But chill, guys, chill. Just chill. Kizazi Moto is not a Nigerian animation, but it does have episodes telling Nigerian stories, so I'm including it. Just allow, okay? Okay. The 10-episode anthology by the South African Triggerfish Studios is set in a futuristic version of Africa and toes the line between science fiction and fantasy very well. Triggerfish Studios is also behind Super Team 4, a very cute series with four secondary school girls who also become spies. I think they're in Kigali, I think. Finally, I want to mention Iyano. Adapted from the 3-part graphic novel, it's been picked up by
Cartoon Network.
and a series is currently under construction. I found out about it really late. I would have liked to audition to be one of the voice actors. I mean, there's no guarantee that I would get the role, but it would be nice to try. I'll talk about the novels in another video when I cover Nigerian literature and why all the authors want to make us cry, but for now, this is enough. I'd also like to mention that we have quite a few indie filmmakers in the Nollywood space whose following aren't even in Nigeria. While asking questions to create this video, someone mentioned CJ Obasi and Abba Makama and recommended that I watch The Lost Okoroshi, Juju Stories, and Green White Green. If I can find them, I definitely will. So, look out for that. If you started watching this video with a metaphorical pitchfork by your side, I hope you've calmed down now. I hope you have. Will it be easy or cheap to tell better stories in Nollywood? No. Will it pay off better in the long run? Absolutely. Sorry, guys. If you watched to this point, you are legally obligated to like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. This is quite the shift from my normal video style, as I don't enjoy talking to the camera. I struggled so much. But it had to be done, and I'll link all my references and the films mentioned in this video in the description, and I look forward to dipping my toes even more into the Nigerian film scene. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and bye!